whiskey bourbon.
That's what we do on our mic checks. Check 1, 2, whiskey bourbon. My whiskey glass is dry. My whiskey glass is dry. Hello, welcome to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Over to your right here is Mr. W2. How do you do?
I'm doing pretty good.
Most excellent.
This weather is starting to warm up. It's starting to be nice out. And,
yeah. The one thing that comes with warm weather is all the poison ivy around my house is just coming alive. Just like, hey, remember us? We're here to party. So I have to get in there and rip all that out. Hopefully I'll not show up here with like just covered in the shit. Mm-hmm. I'm really not looking forward to that, but you got to do it. You got to tear it out by the roots. Everywhere it touches the ground, it puts down roots. So
and even
it's going to be nasty.
Everywhere it touches you, I guess.
Yeah. Oof, yeah, not looking forward to that. But if you're looking forward to this episode, hopefully you're looking forward to them all. You can go down here in the down by the video description and click on subscribe, hit the bell notification, and you can stay up to date with all of our posts here on the YouTube. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app of choice, thank you for doing that. Let us know you're there. Send us an email about it, info@savortheburn.com, or just W2 or Jonathan at savortheburn.com. So with that out of the way, what we're doing today is a side-by-side tasting of a couple offerings from Four Roses. We have small batch. Mm-hmm. We have small batch and we have small batch select. And you can already tell one of them's considerably darker. Maybe not considerably darker, but it's definitely darker. And we're going to see how this plays out. Because you probably heard me yapping about it in the intro. I had the original offering, just the plain Jane, whatever, the $27 bottle, and it really wasn't that great. It's probably like I'm guessing this will be like the original would be Jim Beam White Label. This will be like the extra aged Black Label. I see that they have another Black Label now. It's like just 8-year or something, I think.
Well, they also have their single barrel.
Okay.
So there's the Four Rose regular.
Oh, I was talking about Jim Beam. Yeah.
Oh.
So you're right. So
yes, you are correct.
I can't not talk about Jim Beam. So yeah, go as you were saying.
Just let's get that in there and get it out of the way.
Come over here and.
No, Four Roses. We debated a little bit as to how to do this side by side, or at least I had debated with myself, because they have four main offerings. They've got their standard entry level Four Roses, like we said, it's like a $27 bottle. Yeah. Then they have their small batch.
So that's definitely the next step.
And in between this and this,
oh really?
Price point wise, is the single barrel offering.
Wow.
And then there's the small batch select. And so we kind of debated a little bit, and we talked about what made the most amount of sense. We wanted to do a side-by-side because it just felt like the right opportunity to do a side-by-side. But do we do the compare small batch with single barrel and kind of compare it that way?
Yeah.
And we ended up landing on, because we are doing the side-by-side, the small batch and the small batch select
makes the most sense.
Seem like a better side-by-side comparison because this is still small batch. This is still small batch. This one has just had a little bit more craftsman's care put into it, and we'll get into some of the details on
I was hoping we would.
From a price point, and I'm blanking on what the price points are, but I do know that the single barrel, for whatever reason, lands smack dab in the middle of these. And I'll get into the details here in a little bit, but I also know that out of those four main offerings, this is the most recent addition to their four main offerings. We're going to start with the small batch. Both of these are no age statements. The small batch is 90 proof. And what I've got here says unique blend of 4 excellent bourbons. Four Roses Distillery is a special place with a special page in history. One of only 6 distilleries that were permitted to operate during Prohibition to produce medicinal bourbon. I just love the sound of that. And the sound of that,
I was
too.
trying to lean forward to it.
Medicinal bourbon.
Yes.
Love it. It has an intriguing history. Sitting on the banks of the Salt River in the Sarin rural part of Kentucky, it saw ups and downs until it was resurrected in 2002. Today, the Lawrenceburg Distillery creates top-notch bourbons, each with its special twists. Small batch Kentucky bourbon whiskey is one of the special ones. Four Roses has 2 different mash bills and 5 different year strains, which creates 10 unique recipes. 4 of those recipes are blended to make small batch. Okay, got some blending going on. A unique and perfectly balanced bourbon. Each bourbon is aged for at least 4 years. That's interesting. Hand selected and blended.
4 years.
Yeah, it's not bottled and bond.
It's at least.
But it's at least 4 years. The rich, spicy flavors come from high rye content of 2 of the bourbons, while the other 2 bring lighter, fruity flavors. Four Roses Small Batch won 21 awards, including 2 gold medals at San Francisco's World Spirits Competition. The best way to enjoy this amber beauty is neat or on the rocks. Make up your mind, Four Roses. Is it neat or is it on the rocks?
I mean, if you couldn't tell, just hold it up to the light. Well, you don't. Holding it up to the light's not so.
No, Select is definitely a little bit darker.
Mm-hmm.
Tasting notes between them. Small Batch says it's an amber. Actually, they both say they're amber color. But Select definitely has a little bit darker color.
They are slightly different on the nose.
I'm mad at Small Batch. That's a pretty decent nose. Oh, yeah.
It's not significantly different.
No, I think the Select has a little bit more of a fruitiness to it, maybe. I'm getting a little bit more caramel, maybe, on the Small Batch.
There's like cinnamon up here.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit of nutmeg.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cinnamon all day, and this is like the rest of the baking spices.
Mm-hmm. More oak on the Select.
Definitely. They're both leggy as hell.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Four Roses Select, no age statement also, but it is 104 proof. So 90 proof, 104 proof.
Mm-hmm.
It says, first Four Roses line in 12 years. The origin of the name Four Roses is a bit muddy. The most popular story says the distillery was founded by a druggist, Rufus M. Rose, and that the Four Roses are his immediate family. What we do know for sure is that the company was established in 1888, that it was one of the only distilleries that was allowed to operate during the Prohibition. Medicinal alcohol remained legal. Lucky doctors. Mm-hmm. And that they produce spankingly good bourbon.
Spankingly.
The master distiller at Four Roses is Brent Elliott, and he came up with a ritzy and unique expression he calls Small Batch Select. This exclusive line, introduced in 2019, that joins Single Barrel, Small Batch, and Yellow Label. Okay, so their regular offering is called Yellow Label, is a blend of 6 recipes, aged for 6 to 7 years. Okay, so we've got a few more years on Select. Four Roses produces 10 base bourbons, and Small Batch Select utilizes the majority of them. It's a completely new concoction that manages to be gentle and approachable despite being 104 proof. Brent singled out F strain of yeast that was used for this release, saying it brings a complex character and a warm, spicy palate. Small Batch Select aims to please both the casual drinker and bourbon heads. A little secret, though, adding a splash of water opens up a whole new world. And we've discovered that, Sometimes using that pipette, just a couple drops of water, opens up and presents a lot of additional flavors on there. So this was the first offering added to their main line in 12 years, and that was 2019.
So it's not that old of an offering.
No.
It's fairly recent.
And it says that they, after all their ups and downs, and they didn't go into a lot of details, but 2002 was kind of the reborn date for Four Roses.
Okay. Well, the original Four Roses, it's kind of like a
yellow label.
It's like a tall, kind of square. If I keep doing this, people are going to make memes out of it. But it's all
family show.
Hey-o. And it's a little more ornate with glasswork on there. It's actually got vines, roses, shit going on. This one here, it's like a rounded. It's like an old school rum bottle mixed with a shouldered flask, kind of. But
with the rose,
that rose
in the middle,
that rose embossment there really is really cool for me. And I like the neckband. I like these wooden toppers with the embossment up there on the top of them.
Thick glass bottom. Yeah, the topper on this thing is really nice. It's heavy duty hardwood. Nice. Actually, that's a pretty good size cork topper too. And I like the
wide mouth on the bottle.
The etched roses.
I like a wide mouth every now and then. Let's get it on the palate.
Let's do it. Try that again. There we go. Okay. It's got some spice.
Ooh. That fruitiness that you were talking about, it is there.
Yep.
On the palate. Maybe a touch.
You get a little bit of rye spice.
Yeah, a touch
immediately,
of rye.
And then it opens up into those fruity notes.
The rye's just like, hey guys, welcome to the party. And then steps out of the way so you can walk in. You meet the whole fucking gang. I mean, there's it's like a dark, dried fruit, kind of like raisin or date, maybe. The cinnamon's there.
Cinnamon's there for days.
The nutmeg you were talking about, it's there on the palate. And it's just kind of a
little bit of a toasted oak.
Toasted oak.
Yeah, it's not quite a charred, but there's just a little bit of a smokiness to it, maybe.
And maybe I'm just getting used to 90 proofs and 100 proofs now. But this drinks, to me, it drinks like an 80.
It drinks quite well.
So I'm actually very surprised by this. When it comes to Four Roses, like I said, I've just had the one, not impressed.
Yeah.
This, I'm very happy with this. Very happy.
Yeah.
Let's switch it over to the small batch select.
A lot more oak right off the bat.
Yeah. Wow, what did they do?
It's smoother.
It's smooth. It's like there's more rye in it because that comes in for the finish. It's peppery rye.
Yeah, the rye spice is more on the finish than on the front of the palate.
All right, so this is like I don't know how else to describe it really, but like this is the cute girl in your class, like in your English class. You've been passing notes back and forth. Then you get to go over to her house and hang out and see what it is that she's into. Video games, riding horses, whatever boring shit there is. And then her hot fucking rock and roll sister walks in. You're like, oh my God.
So the notes here on the small batch say spicy aromas with hints of cedar, cloves, and cinnamon.
Small batch.
Small batch.
Okay, so you're calling the tasting notes.
The select. Small batch select says toasted oak, red berries, and caramel nose with a strong ethanol aroma.
Red berries?
I'm not getting much of an ethanol.
Strong ethanol aroma?
That's on the nose. Yeah, I guess there is a little bit of an ethanol on the nose. Well, just a little bit. The palate says flavors of red fruit and caramel with citrusy notes and a touch of vanilla.
Yeah, you know what? That's something we didn't even talk about was the vanilla. The vanilla's on there. And caramel for sure.
Mm-hmm. And back to small batch, palate for this is lovely flavors of red plums, berries, and apples with touches of peppercorn and toasted rye. Toasted rye all day long.
I would agree with that.
Apple? Yeah, maybe.
I don't know about the red plums. I don't eat a lot of plums.
Yeah.
I like plums, but I just don't eat a lot of them. Nothing against plums. But like I said something about like the darker dried fruits like raisins or dates. Maybe prunes. Prunes are dried plums.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm trying to justify what it was that I said, but really, you can't go wrong with either one of these.
No, these are both solid.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how solid each one of them are on their own
and how different they are. Mm-hmm. To have the same mash bill.
So much cinnamon.
This
on
one is aged longer. You know, and I think I could
just. But there's no age statement, so you don't know how long.
There is no age statement, but it does say that the Select is aged 6 to 7 years.
Okay.
Whereas the small batch is aged for a minimum of at least 4 years.
So this has like a French toasty, like we said, like the note said, vanilla, just cinnamon, you know, almost, you know, 100% pure maple syrupy kind of, on the nose. And this just smells like more like your traditional bourbon, but with more of that baking spice kind of stuff going on the nose. It's
wild how much smoother it is, and it's 104 proof.
And it's 104. This is not drank like 104 proof whiskey. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot. Wow, I'm wowed.
I mean, as much as we love that Baker's 7.
Yeah,
that is 107.
8.5.
That's 107 proof.
107.
8.5 proof.
Made by Jim Beam.
But it has a lot of bite to it.
It does.
You know, there's
comparison.
There's a little bit of heat. Little. It is
There's more of your
Kentucky
traditional
hug.
bourbon heat. These guys.
This one.
Where did you say these were made? These are Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys.
Yeah, this is right outside of Louisville.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the oakiness really does show up on the small batch select.
That was really good.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you.
Like deep caramel and decent amount of oak.
Here's a question that will carry over to the bonus that will come out this following week.
For the cocktail.
The cocktail that we're going to make with this. Which one lends itself?
Talk to me. What are the ingredients in the cocktail?
So the cocktail that we're going to make with this is, and I pulled it right off of Four Roses site. We've had great luck with that. So even though we don't always use a cocktail off of the Spirit's own website, I have started making that my first point of research. We're drinking Four Roses. Let's go to Four Roses website. They all have a cocktail/recipe page. Let's see what cocktails they actually have on there for their products. In this case, the cocktail I picked, they have it paired with the Select specifically.
Okay.
If that influences
that does influence me.
But
because you would think it's their cocktail,
right?
They would know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
But if it came from, so we've run into so yes, it doesn't influence my decision. But on the flip side, it also hinders it because we've run into this time and time again where the distillery, the website, we'll just say, the official website says to use a certain spirit, certain version of the spirit, and it turns out not that great. But anytime we take a recipe from High Proof Preacher, yeah, so I would take their word, a secondary word, over the distillery's word.
I agree with that.
as you were starting to get into the ingredients here.
So yeah, we have done a handful of whiskey sours. Mm-hmm. We love whiskey sours.
Whiskey sours are great.
It's kind of a staple. It's fun
to make, fun to drink, fun to share.
We have not done a New York sour, and a New York sour is the whiskey sour that floats the red wine right on top. So that is what we're going to do. So our ingredients for this are our bourbon, lemon juice, simple syrup, which I will use the Demerara rich syrup, egg white, and then float a half ounce of red wine on top.
Okay. What is the red wine?
We're going to use a Cabernet.
What? I'm not versed on.
I'm not either.
What that means? Like, I mean, what does it taste like? Is it sweet? Is it
a cab? Is
a rich kind of oaky, or is it just like straight feet?
A cab is the middle of the road. It's a medium dry, sweet.
Okay.
Red wine.
Dry means not sweet.
A Merlot is a dry wine.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it is classified as a semi-sweet wine.
Take this. How much simple syrup? 3/4 ounce simple syrup. That would take care of. That would add to. You got the egg. That would make.
The extra proof on the Select, I think puts that in a plus category.
It's a definite plus. You using the regular small batch at 90, it still makes it a great candidate for a cocktail.
It's not gonna be bad.
I think that would be better as an old fashioned.
Agreed.
Than this one would be. Typically, old fashions aren't supposed to be super high.
I think because of the 104 proof, I think this using the Select, it's going to have a better chance to shine.
Yes.
Than
with that amount of ingredients, I would agree with that. Wholeheartedly. What cocktails do you make? Leave us a comment. Let us know.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I cannot wait to get to the...
I can't get over how much cinnamon is on the nose on that small batch.
So waiting for my glass to dry out so I can get the second nose.
Yeah, for us, for whatever reason, the empty nose, it always brings up notes of the cereal notes. Mm-hmm. Usually we can tell what grains have been used in the mash bill off the empty nose.
These are really good.
So much better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, they're surprisingly good. It's not that I had low expectations.
I did.
For these.
I did.
But, you know, it's...
That was only based off of their original offering. Like, it's unfair, but I was so ready to compare. And yeah, I think we did a pretty good job at not comparing these two, like, against each other.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, one cute sister against another cute sister. Like, you can't go wrong with either one of them. You just can't. As far as bottle presentation, I don't know. When I think back to the original bottle, I mean, it was taller, it was more square, it's kind of flared up.
Even the single barrel bottle is
it like these?
No, it's not. It's kind of like the original bottle / a 1800 Cuervo.
Oh, okay.
Like it's squared off, but it tapers small to a little bit larger footprint.
Yeah.
But it has all the ornate, decorative type stuff.
It doesn't have as much ornate.
I guess it's not. I guess it's just the rows, the 4 rows.
It's up at the top of the label, but it's
squared off.
You get that specific,
a little bit of a taper on it.
You get that cool information down at the bottom, the warehouse number and the barrel number.
Which, I mean, that adds.
How cool is that?
That adds to presentation.
It's 100 proof.
Yep,
and it is in the 750s, not in a little 325. The neck label's different, and the topper's different. Everything's different, but it's not small batch. It just makes me think maybe with the small batch they have a little bit more liberty with, was that was that 25 or was that 27% corn?
They're blending to a very specific palate.
Okay, all right.
With small batch, single barrel, you don't get that luxury. When you decide to bottle that barrel, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You're going to proof it down to what it needs to be, but that barrel is all you got.
Strength.
When you've got a small batch, you're blending to meet a very exact consistency.
And I think consistency is fine. I'm gonna pull up.
This is hard for me.
This is really difficult. It helps to be able to flip the pages for me to see like what I gave that one versus the other one. I'm like, no, I did that one. That one's too low. Is that one really as high as I needed it to be? Yeah, I think that's perfect. But if I like this one better, maybe I should bump this number up. It's a whole thing. Like bottle presentation, I like it. I don't know if I love it. I'm certainly not wowed by it. So that's, unfortunately, I think that's going to skew my number down a little bit.
I'm wowed by my numbers.
Right?
They did not come out how I thought that they might have.
That's a fun way to put that.
Second nose on the small batch. A lot of vanilla. A little bit of cinnamon sticks around.
You got like oatmeal.
Yep.
So on the Book of Faces, I posted the photo of both of these bottles.
Till we get anything? And
the Kansas City Bourbon and Whiskey Club, and also the Kansas City Whiskey Guild. Unfortunately, the only comment I got on the Whiskey Guild was a bot, some kind of scammer thing. Like, to find these bottles, click, what is it, Bourbon Hunters Group 3.0 or whatever it was. I'm like, excuse me, bitch?
Maybe it's a good thing that neither one of us are admins, because I'd boot that fucker.
I'd have a fucking block party. Blocked.
There's enough other...
You get blocked. We
get enough of that on our own Facebook page.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, it shows up.
If you're looking for this bottle...
No, we're not looking for it. We have
Dumbass, we have it right here.
It's in the photo. Look at the liquor cabinet. We have it. We own it. It's delicious. Or if it's like Navigator, it's not delicious. So Lucas says both are great, but you'll see why Select is more expensive. It's the winner of the pair. Philip says, I love the single batch Select. One of my faves for an elevated daily drinker. I totally believe that. Kevin says, I have not had the small batch Select yet, but they're both solid bourbons. How does he know? The small batch Select is supposed to be a cut above the other.
Yep. Well,
how do you know if you haven't had it? How do you know if it's a solid bourbon? Anyway, somebody named Jonathan Hassler says, I haven't had the original in years. I remember not liking it. Well, thanks for that comment, dummy.
If I remember correctly, the small batch is a $38 bottle, roughly. The Select bottle is right at $50.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nick says, they're all fire. 3 flames emojis. After that, you need to snag a single barrel strength pick.
I bet that is actually pretty good.
Yeah, to find a store pick,
the single barrel or store pick, but full strength, cask strength.
Yeah, so that's what they think about it. Let's talk for a minute about what we think about it.
Let's do it.
On the it's still a little bit of oats on there. Vanilla. On the Four Roses small batch, 90 proof. On the nose, I gave it a 4 1/4. How about you, sir?
Girl.
For real?
Same.
It hit so many check marks. Like it had so much to offer.
Nose. It did.
And coming back to it every single time. Cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yep.
Vanilla. Something fucking fantastic. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
On the palate, I gave it another 4 1/4. How about you?
Girl, same.
You stops copies me. On the finish, I kept it right at 4 1/4.
I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I dropped it to 4.
Okay. That's all right. Why? It's a 1/4 point, so I'm not expecting.
No,
that's just where you're.
Still a great finish. I think I dropped it just a little bit because of the finish I gave on the Select.
Okay, fair. How about bottle presentation? We talked about bottle presentation probably longer than we should have. We didn't quite get into the weeds on the presentation like we have in the past, but
I mean,
it's got a bit of a torn label on the top.
There's nothing not to like about this. The label has kind of that torn, burnt parchment paper kind of a shape. It's outlined in gold ink. It's got the cutout to show the embossed in glass Four Rose logo. It's got a great neckband. I love the topper on this. To me, is that's the star of the show. That's a really nicely crafted hardwood top with it, with the engraved, like a laser etched Four Rose logo on the top of there.
I was
it's natural
thinking
cork.
about that. That had to be laser etched. It just zap it. Done.
Yeah, it's got everything you need. It's a super heavy, thick glass bottomed on there.
So hopefully you don't drop it, but if you did, there's a chance it'll stay intact.
Yep. The shape of it, I think it probably would. The Select is identical, just the inverse. So you've got dark versus the light labeling. All that said, I gave it 3 3/4.
3 3/4.
There wasn't anything that really necessarily wowed me about it. I think it's a great presentation.
I think your rating is a little more fair than mine because it's a little higher, right? As we were getting back into it and talking about it, I mean, you got a label that was designed for the bottle for the rose embossment on the bottle, and like you had to square that up just right to make it right. And so I don't know what machinery they're using or if it's hand done every single time. I don't know, but I'm sure they're pumping out a lot of bottles, and to make sure that that's square every single time it's got to be a labor of love somehow. But I ended up giving it a 3.5.
Okay.
So that brought my final score to 8 1/8, 8.125.
That's what my total ended up being.
That was yours? Mm-hmm. How'd that? Oh, okay. Yep. That's wild. We used different math to come up with the same answer.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So let's switch over here to the small batch select.
Yeah.
104 proof. I gave the nose 4 1/4.
I dipped it on the nose a little bit just because there was a little bit, not much, nothing offensive, nothing off-putting, but there was a little bit of an ethanol on the nose that was not on the nose of the other one. So I dipped it a little bit and gave it 4 even. 4
even. Okay. What I liked about it, it was a lot like the small batch, but this was like more like your traditional bourbon. It had the oakiness on the nose, and you could even kind of smell the rye. On this one here, you didn't even notice the rye until it was kind of leaving the palate, like right before the end of the palate. And speaking of the palate, I gave the palate on the small batch select a 4.5.
I don't really know why, because I love the palate. I gave it a 4.
4 even. Okay.
4 even. I think, again, we're side by siding these.
We are.
Because it just makes sense. They're both small batch.
Yep.
This is the select. But all the little nuances of the cinnamon and the baking spices and all that we got on the palate on this one, I felt like, even though this one was a way smoother drink
than it should have been,
some of those
at 104.
Yeah, some of those little nuances I think were just kind of lost between a little bit more oak and everything else just being a little bit not flat but more subtle.
Well, the small batch, I didn't really pick up on oak.
Yeah,
I really didn't.
Yeah, there was not a lot.
If it was there, I didn't recognize it for what it was.
Just a little bit.
On this, there was plenty of oak.
There was a lot of oak.
Yeah. How about the finish? I gave it a 4 1/4.
I gave it 4 1/4. It had a little bit better finish than the other one.
On the bottle presentation,
I kept the same, 3 3/4.
3 3/4. So I kept mine. Excuse me. I kept mine the same at 3.5. It's got everything I like about it.
Yeah.
Nice solid topper. It's got natural cork. It's got a cool neckband. I love bottle embossments.
Yep.
Whenever they put that on there, I think that's a really cool touch. The not particularly jazzed about the bottle shape, but You know, that's not for everybody.
Yep.
If you've got a lot of bottles in your collection in your whiskey bar or whatever, you turn them sideways like that, you can stack a shit ton more in there.
You can.
You know, than just putting them all like this
Right.
and trying to stack them that way. But you know, it's all in how you put them on your shelf.
Yep.
So that brought my final score to 8 1/4, 8.25.
Mine came out to an 8 even.
8 even, which does surprise me because I thought we both liked the small batch select.
I thought I did too.
Better.
Yeah, I thought I did too.
Yeah, it's a good thing we had this rating system. Otherwise, we'd be throwing home fucking willy nilly. You know, we would have given the other one an 8 and this one an 8 1/4, and not even known why. Just because that tasted like an 8 and we like this one a little bit better.
A lot of vanilla on the second nose.
Did it show up on second on the select? I think I'm finding those cereal grains.
A lot of oatmeal.
Yeah. This one definitely
Kind
has
of a grape nuts.
the grape nuts again. I don't know. If you like grape nuts, let us know because we found it here in the small batch select. Well, what do we say about these guys here?
These are both great pours.
Yeah.
And I it's been a minute since I've had the yellow label, the standard 4 rows. Mm-hmm. But from what I remember, this is a world different drink.
Oh yeah, totally. It's almost like it's just a completely different experience.
Yeah.
There's no other way around.
And this one for an under $40 bottle, you can find it any liquor store.
Yeah, I think I got that
every liquor store.
in around Christmas time in one of those gift packs or whatever. Like it comes with a bottle, and sometimes you'll find like a bottle and a couple glasses. This one came with a couple ice molds.
Nice.
So it has ice molds.
Oh yeah, we're gonna use those in the cocktail.
Yep, that's going to happen. So definitely stick around. Here in a couple days, you'll be able to see that bonus come out, and we'll be sitting there talking about it, enjoying ourselves a cocktail. What was it? A New York
sour.
New York sour.
Pinkies up, bitches.
Which we haven't had. And when you sent me that on the phone, I was like, okay, that's fourroses.com. So I went to fourroses.com on the work computer, and I click on their cocktails, and I bring it up, and I'm like, that's a beautiful fucking cocktail. And so like I'm looking at it, and I'm busy, doing my work, and it's still up there, and like I got people going by the cubicle, like going by the desk all the time, like that's a good looking drink. That's a fancy looking cocktail. Ooh, what's that? All this different stuff. I'm like, well, let me tell you all about it. It's a cocktail we're going to be trying here in a few days, called the New York.
I'm feeling confident.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a better looking one than that. And that's not a bad looking. That's not a bad looking picture.
I don't know. It's going to be tough to beat.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. I think it's going to be bitchin'. So I think a way for me to sum it up is if you had a bad experience with the original Four Roses yellow label, like we talked about, trust us on this one. Go grab yourself a bottle of the small batch. Just try it out. If you don't like it, you can send us the empty bottle or the rest of the bottle, and we'll give you a sticker or something in return. I got no idea. We'll be happy to take what you don't want. Yeah. So and this, what we thought was a cut above that one, turned out to not end up on the score charts.
I think yours came up
mine
quarter point,
an eighth of a point higher,
or an eighth of a point.
Yeah, yours dropped an eighth of a point. I mean, we're hovering right at 8.
Yep.
8 out of 1 to 10.
Great score.
It's a great score for a great bourbon. Yep. Both of them. So, and if you've never had Four Roses, don't even worry about the original yellow label. It's we might say it's trash. Just go ahead and get yourself the small batch and just enjoy the shit out of it, because you will, and you'll hopefully share this with your friends and not be a fucking alcoholic about it. And then
worth the extra $10.
Worth the extra $10.
Just get the small batch.
Yeah, and then if you want to go a little bit more, and if you can find it, which shouldn't be too difficult. If you're a regular hunter, maybe they'll have it. Maybe they'll have it behind the counter.
Most places that have this also will have that.
Yeah. So, you can trust us on this one. It's every bit as good as that one. It's just a little bit sharper on the tongue. The rye is more noticeable, so this one might work better. And plus, the proof is 14 points higher than the Select. This comes in at 104. That one comes in at 90. So this one definitely makes a better candidate for cocktails. I think that one would work better in an old fashioned, but this one here would probably work better in a Manhattan. And definitely work better here in the New York sour.
We're gonna stick with it.
You motherfuckers know nothing about it, and well, neither do we. But we're gonna find out soon. So, do you have anything else to add? Any final thoughts?
I like it.
He likes it. So do I. And hopefully you will too. If you know anybody who's looking to get into these bourbons, into Four Roses, and doesn't quite know what to think of it themselves, have them check out this video, share it with them, and have them sit through the entirety of us just go blah, 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 blah. So hopefully that helps out. So once again, thank you for checking in to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Over here to my right is Mr. W2. And no matter what you're drinking, who you're drinking it with, where you're drinking it, never forget,
Keep on burning.